I want to tell you this morning about an extraordinary historic event that happened last year, began last year, the first time in history that an international relief organization requested a music-based intervention for conflict resolution in a war zone. That's a mouthful. What happened was not something that I chose. I think our call to service isn't always something we choose. Do you know what I'm talking about? It chose me. The only way we got there is because we have scientific data showing that 1 hour of group drumming on the Health Rhythms Protocol increases immunity, decreases burnout. We've published in four peer-reviewed journals, 4 different studies. Because of that research, it was okay. It was okay with all the different spiritual sects and different groups because we had evidence. We had what? Is evidence important for our field? It's crucial, I think, as we continue to move forward into this global time. It's important to be able to stand on scientific foundation. We know it works. We know it works, but we had that research. And so what happened was we went to Iraq, and I had this team with me, and Remo Drum Company donated 100 drums. Melinda invited 36 individuals from 6 different governances across northern Iraq, hand-picked because they were drummers, they were teachers, community action group leaders. We even had a sheikh from Mosul, which you've been hearing on the news, where all the Christians are having conflicts with the Yazidis. We had groups that would never have had any reason to meet each other in one place for 5 days to train them in facilitating drum circles for conflict resolution, empowerment, therapy. We had therapists and people working in orphanages, and healing across Iraq. I'm a researcher, so of course I took pre and post data on the 5 days of the training. We found that the participants rated the experience at a 92% satisfaction level, which is extraordinary for peacemaking conferences with such different groups. But as Cameron's been teaching to me, you know, these people used to live in peace together. How many years ago? You know, this was sort of a returning, a remembering of how music rebridged cultures that had been separated. And the extraordinary thing was they also asked them how much they felt connected as a community, and they said 80% on a scale of 1 to 100. So that's really extraordinary given the language barriers. And I'm very proud to tell you the results of our return trip this year. There are ongoing weekly Ashti drum circles in 4 youth activity centers across northern Iraq now happening. So this is a clip, an audio clip of a dialogue between me on my colonial fife, oh, I have it here, and Mr. Hunar playing his Kurdish flute. Now remember, these are 2 different scales, and what you're going to hear, if you listen closely, is him adjusting his scale to mine. And the conversation begins as a conversation, and it ends in a very unique way. I thought that was a great example of how we learn to find each other, how we learn to find each other in sound. You saw the U.S. Philharmonic go to North Korea, yes? Okay, and so even since the earliest diplomat policies in our government in the U.S., they were sending a gospel choir to the Soviet Union. I found it really interesting when I read about the Philharmonic going to North Korea that when they performed a Korean folk song and they were received with this huge standing ovation, the American musicians were in tears. And I felt those tears. You think you're going to give, but you really receive so much when you serve, yes? Raise your hand, you know what I'm talking about. Exactly. So music is the language of global diplomacy. Second principle I learned, musicians are natural peacemakers. Think about it. We know the concept of harmony. We know what it is to listen, to use our ears. I always love that we say we play by ear. We know how to express ourselves non-verbally. I think that's what makes our music passport. That's what makes us natural peacemakers. We can make a dialogue happen from the heart. The third theme I think is happening is we are shifting from performers to reformers. You know, a lot of times we say we practice music, and we're shifting to music as practice. From practicing music to music as practice, from performers to reformers. You know, I love doing healing work, doing music therapy work with people who've had injuries or people who have challenges, mental illnesses. How many of you do that work? You treat the sick people. Remember that continuum, illness to wellness? There's something past wellness. It's called global wellness, and that's what peacemaking is. So we have to break that continuum and continue on. And we have the tool that goes there. We have the tool that pushes that open. I want to be part of reforming culture. I want to be part of a world where we do what we did last night all the time. Like tennis courts. There should be music courts. Right? If it plays in Iraq, you know, it can work anywhere. We feel that we're on the brink of really understanding a format that can work across the globe for peacemaking, that we're testing it in Iraq, and we're ready to take it to the next places. I think the fourth theme I'm seeing that's going to happen in the future of our profession is forming sonic alliances. It's a time of remembering the indigenous roots around the world. You know, Cameron and I were talking one time in Boulder, Colorado in the cafe, and we were saying, you know, there used to be this Silk Road where the traders would, you know, go back and forth on the camel trade, and they'd sit around a fire and they'd, you know, trade stuff, and then they'd sing songs to each other. We are musicians on that path, but it's virtual now. And so we collect sound healing traditions from one culture, and we carry them with us to the next town, yes? To the next clients. And we are the ones that are circulating these healing traditions now. We are the ones that are part of being on that path again. And now the path is virtual. It's huge. Because I was emailing somebody on Yahoo, thank you Yahoo, because everybody in Iraq has these Yahoo addresses, and he wrote in this scrambled words, like if you closed your eyes and typed, that's what it looked like. And this gentleman who you saw him playing the violin, he's from Halabja. And he sent this to me, and then he wrote, "No English." So you know what I wrote back? "Doom, doom, taka, taka, doom." Next thing I get back, "Doom, taka, 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 doom, doom." Next thing I get back is an audio file. We can communicate this way. Yahoo instant messaging, I'm getting an audio file of his violin playing. I want to tell you, I think the biggest thing I learned in 2 sentences, this whole project, and that is that words communicate thoughts, music communicates energy. We speak to each other in energy, through sound, through music.